Yeah. The midnight rain. The midnight rain is drumming heavy against the window pane. I flick the television, tiger washing away the outside strain. Dimming the room lights down until the atmosphere is completely dark. Ready to ignite a legendary ancient cinematic spark. I pull a black plastic cassette right out of the cardboard sleeve. The kind of physical martial arts drama you gotta see to believe. The VHS tape whirring, clicking loudly inside the heavy iron slot. Giving this classic Shaw Brothers feature absolutely everything I got. Yeah, the screen flashes with the bright red letters of the old studio name. Before the global universe ever completely commercialized the game. The deep mood bass drops exactly as the opening credits unfold. The greatest legendary story of discipline that the masters ever told. The tracking lines jumping, settling down into a perfect clean frame, where every single warrior is strictly fighting for the family name. We watching the 5 deadly venoms moving smooth in the night, learning the ancient philosophy inside the ultimate physical fight. The clash of steel swords echoing perfectly right over the drum. Waiting for the ultimate cinematic satisfaction to finally come. Yeah, the avenue is chaotic, but the
temple is standing sublime,
trapped completely inside the rhythm of a legendary
forgotten time.
Yeah, the voice dubbing is completely out of sync with the moving lips, but nobody cares when you watching the ultimate crane stance flips. The master sitting quiet, stroking his long white silk beard, teaching the style of execution that the rival clans always feared. The rhythmic wooden dummy strikes, keeping time with the hi-hat snare, creating an absolute, undeniably heavy atmosphere right in the room air. A young student carrying heavy wooden buckets straight up the mountain hill, testing the absolute limits of the human endurance and the physical will. I lean back on the fabric sofa, completely absorbing the ancient philosophy, the sharpest manifestation of the physical dedication you could ever see. Every block, every punch, perfectly synchronized, strictly with the groove, dictating exactly how the legendary shadow warriors completely move. We watching the 5 deadly venoms moving smooth in the night, learning the ancient philosophy inside the ultimate physical fight. The clash of steel swords echoing perfectly right over the drum. Waiting for the ultimate cinematic satisfaction to finally come. Yeah, the avenue is chaotic,
but the temple is standing sublime,
trapped completely inside the rhythm of a legendary
forgotten time.
Yeah, the drunken master stumbles across the painted courtyard stone, defeating a dozen elite imperial soldiers entirely all alone. The flute sample is weeping, blending with the heavy bass line roll, healing the heavy exhaustion hidden deep inside the urban soul. Watching the tiger claw colliding straight with the iron shield, a beautiful cinematic masterpiece playing out on the battlefield. My homies leaning forward, completely mesmerized, strictly by the hand speed. This is exactly the kind of deep mental focus that the neighborhood kids need. No special effects, no cheap illusions, just pure physical human grace, leaving the absolute permanent mark inside this creative room space. The swordplay getting faster, the steel blades flashing in the candlelight, guiding our imagination safely through the middle of the dark night. We watching the 5 deadly venoms moving smooth in the night, learning the ancient philosophy inside the ultimate physical fight. The clash of steel swords echoing perfectly right over the drum. Waiting for the ultimate cinematic satisfaction
to finally come.
Yeah, the avenue is chaotic,
but the temple is standing sublime,
trapped completely inside the rhythm of a legendary
forgotten time.
The final showdown is happening right on top of the burning roof, the ultimate manifestation of the undeniable martial arts proof. The villain falls, the grandmaster stands completely undefeated and tall, answering the absolute ultimate internal honor and spiritual call. The movie fades out the black, the tape begins to automatically rewind, leaving a massive trail of ancient wisdom deep inside the human mind. The mechanical whirring of the cassette filling up the quiet space, bringing us back slowly to the reality of the metropolitan place. But the rhythm of the Shaolin stays strictly rolling deep in the bone, standing undefeated, completely on the physical G-funk throne. We watching the
Learning the ancient philosophy inside the ultimate physical fight. The clashing steel sword echoing perfectly right over the drum, waiting for the ultimate cinematic satisfaction to finally come.
Yeah, the avenue is chaotic,
but the temple is standing sublime,
trapped completely inside the rhythm
of a legendary forgotten time.
Yeah. Yeah. When the heavy, loud shouting match completely disrupts the neighborhood pace, Mr. Davis and Mr. Miller leaning heavily over the chain link fence, making the absolute undeniably heavy afternoon air incredibly tense. One is yelling about the tree branches dropping leaves on the grass, the other screaming about the heavy trash cans completely blocking the pass. The faces are turning completely red, the physical veins are popping out, replacing the absolute heavy neighborhood peace with the ignorance and doubt. The younger kids completely stopping their bicycles strictly in the street, watching the heavy physical elders entirely lose their absolute heat. I cannot let the heavy situation completely escalate into a physical fight, because nobody's gonna sleep entirely comfortably on the block tonight. I drop my heavy canvas bag strictly directly onto the green lawn, stepping entirely into the heavy crossfire before the respect is completely gone. We gotta completely lower the volume and entirely break the heavy pride,
Finding a completely peaceful way
to absolutely coexist side by side. The heavy street is a permanent home, we entirely sharing the same space, bringing the absolute undeniably heavy harmony completely back to this place. Yeah, the physical fences might divide the heavy property line, but the undisputed neighborhood brotherhood is entirely absolutely mine. I step directly perfectly between the two heavy shouting men, telling them to completely, strictly, entirely breathe in and count to 10. I look Mr. Davis directly and entirely perfectly in his physical eye, asking him exactly what kind of heavy example he is completely setting high. You've been living exactly on this heavy physical street for over 15 years. There absolutely entirely is no reason to completely manifest these fears. I turn strictly, directly, entirely over to Mr. Miller on the right, telling him that the heavy physical anger is completely blinding his sight. It is just a heavy tree branch and a piece of plastic garbage bin. This is absolutely entirely not the kind of heavy battle you need to win. The hammer and organ playing that completely, entirely soothing and mellow chord, dropping the heavy invisible, completely, entirely, undeniably sharp sword. You gotta completely understand that the real enemy is strictly outside the block. We gotta entirely, completely protect our own heavy physical neighborhood rock. We gotta completely lower the volume and entirely break the heavy pride,
Finding a completely peaceful way
to absolutely coexist side by side. The heavy street is a permanent home, we entirely sharing the same space, bringing the absolute undeniably heavy harmony completely back to this place. Yeah, the physical fences might divide the heavy property line, but the undisputed neighborhood brotherhood is entirely, absolutely mine. The heavy voices completely, entirely start to strictly drop in their tone, realizing that they absolutely cannot survive the heavy avenue completely alone. I tell them to entirely, completely look at exactly how the kids are watching now. We gotta completely, entirely teach the younger generation exactly, perfectly how to entirely handle a heavy physical dispute like a completely grown man, executing the absolute, completely, entirely perfect neighborhood master plan. I tell Mr. Davis to completely grab his heavy iron clippers from the shed, taking back the absolute, undeniably heavy, angry words that he previously said. I tell Mr. Miller to completely, strictly move the heavy can to the side, swallowing the absolute, entirely complete and unnecessary foolish pride. The heavy physical tension completely, entirely, strictly melting completely away, saving the absolute, undeniable, heavy, completely physical West Coast day. The deep move bass entirely, completely, strictly walk heavy on the beat, restoring the absolute, undeniable, heavy, completely peaceful neighborhood street. We gotta completely lower the volume and entirely break the heavy pride, finding a completely peaceful way to absolutely coexist side by side. The heavy street is a permanent home. We entirely sharing the same space, bringing the absolute, undeniably heavy harmony completely back to this place. Yeah, the physical fences might divide the heavy property line, but the undisputed neighborhood brotherhood is entirely, absolutely mine. Yeah. Yeah. Walking strictly down the avenue in the absolute Sunday best, putting the heavy physical neighborhood struggles to a holy test. The entire family stepping together completely in the morning light, making the undeniable spiritual vision incredibly sharp and bright. Yeah, the avenue is watching, showing the absolute highest respect, protecting the righteous path that the completely holy universe directs. We step out the front door, locking the heavy brass deadbolt tight, stepping perfectly into the glorious and undeniably holy sunlight. The classic four-door sedan is shining completely inside the driveway, ready to absolutely, completely carry us the entire righteous way. I turn the heavy ignition, the engine purrs incredibly low and calm, holding the steering wheel completely, entirely inside my physical palm. Cruising down the boulevard, the neighborhood is incredibly quiet and slow, watching the other righteous families absolutely completely go. The cats on the corner completely drop the heavy physical street talk, showing the absolute respect when they completely watch the faithful walk. No heavy drama today, just the pure and entirely crisp morning breeze, putting the chaotic heavy metropolitan mind entirely completely at ease. The stained glass windows are finally strictly coming into our physical view, a beautiful, undeniably massive sanctuary, entirely, completely brand new.
Walking strictly down the avenue in the absolute Sunday best, putting the heavy physical neighborhood struggles off to a holy test. The entire family stepping together completely in the morning light, making the undeniable spiritual vision incredibly sharp and bright. Yeah, the avenue is watching, showing the absolute highest respect, protecting the righteous path that the completely holy universe directs.
We walk up the heavy concrete steps, opening the massive wooden doors, stepping directly onto the completely polished, shiny hardwood floors. The usher in the pristine white gloves hands out the cardboard fans, executing the absolute, undeniable, righteous, completely holy plans. Finding our usual wooden pew completely exactly in the middle row, watching the absolute, undeniably massive congregation entirely grow. The Hammond B3 organ completely strictly crying a soulful tune, brighter than the absolute, undeniable, heavy, physical, glowing moon. The choir stands up, the majestic rolls completely, entirely swaying in time, matching the absolute, undeniably deep and perfectly righteous rhyme. The harmonies completely, entirely shaking the heavy plaster walls, answering the completely, undeniably massive and absolute spiritual calls. Every single generation sitting entirely, completely, perfectly side by side, filling the holy sanctuary with the absolute, undeniably massive pride. Walking strictly down the avenue in the absolute Sunday best, putting the heavy physical neighborhood struggles to a holy test. The entire family stepping together completely in the morning light, making the undeniable spiritual vision incredibly sharp and bright. Yeah, the avenue is watching, showing the absolute highest respect, protecting the righteous path that the completely holy universe directs. The preacher steps entirely, completely up to the heavy wooden podium stand, holding the absolute undisputed righteous book strictly right in his hand. He speaks the heavy truth directly, completely into the microphone wire, lighting up the absolute entirely, completely undeniable spiritual fire. Talking about the heavy metropolitan struggles we completely face every week, giving the absolutely undeniable heavy righteous strength entirely to the meek. I look strictly, completely over at my family, sitting incredibly still, knowing this absolute undeniable holy moment is completely fulfilling the will. The heavy burdens of the physical hustle completely, entirely lifting away, washed entirely clean by the absolute undeniable, completely holy Sunday. The service wraps up with a massive and undeniably joyful noise, blessing absolutely every single one of the neighborhood girls and boys. We walk completely, entirely back out perfectly into the bright afternoon, knowing we gotta face the entirely heavy physical reality completely soon. The sun is completely gone, and the street lights are painting the avenue orange. This is a nightly slowed exclusive. Tonight, we ain't talking about the hustle or the enemies. We talking about the absolute foundation, the circle, the queen at the house. Listen to that muted trumpet crying in the background. Hear the heavy cue ball smack the rack. Let the hybrid bass walk, we keeping it completely real. I step inside the dim hall, smelling the heavy chalk and smoke, where the undeniable true words of the neighborhood are strictly spoke. I pulled the custom wooden shaft right out of the leather case, taking my absolute proper position inside this physical space. My homie Arch, I'm holding down the corner table in the back, waiting for me to completely shatter the heavy wooden rack. The sharp crack echoing exactly right over the drum kick, moving completely smooth, making the heavy atmosphere incredibly thick. These are the brothers who absolutely held me down through the rain, taking a massive share of the undeniable metropolitan pain. When the pockets were completely empty in the classic engine stall, these are the absolute first heavy numbers that I completely called. No fake handshakes, no temporary neighborhood smiles, just a heavy physical loyalty stretching for a million miles.
We holding down that heavy circle, keeping the perimeter tight, navigating together completely through the shadows of the night.
And when the heavy street business is entirely exactly done,
I am driving
completely straight back
to my absolute number one.
Yeah, the loyalty is the undeniable,
heavy blood in the vein,
keeping a man entirely sane
inside the heavy pouring rain.
You gotta recognize exactly who was sitting at your physical table when the metropolitan environment becomes entirely unstable. A lot of cats strictly disappear when the heavy shadows fall, but the true physical brotherhood absolutely answers the late night call. We clinking the heavy glasses, celebrating the daily survival, completely ignoring the heavy threats of any physical rival. It is an undeniable chemistry built exactly on the pure respect, the absolute heavy outcome that the avenue absolutely didn't expect. But the analog clock on the wall is completely strictly ticking on, and the heavy midnight hours are absolutely entirely almost gone. I laid the heavy wooden cue directly down on the green felt, leaving the absolute undeniable heavy camaraderie that I felt. I got a completely different heavy destination strictly waiting for me, the absolute most beautiful physical reality that I could ever see.
We holding down the heavy circle, keeping the perimeter tight, navigating together completely through the shadows of the night.
And when the heavy street business is entirely exactly done,
I am driving
completely straight back
to my absolute number one.
Yeah, the loyalty is the undeniable,
heavy blood in the vein,
keeping a man entirely sane
inside the heavy pouring rain.
I
Push the heavy key strictly inside the front wooden door, leaving the heavy street dust completely on the porch floor. The undeniable chaos of the boulevard completely strictly fades away, erasing absolutely every single heavy problem of the passing day. She ain't the type to demand a heavy VIP section at the club, or completely chase the heavy flashing lights at the neighborhood pub. I find her sitting perfectly comfortable directly on the living room couch, the absolute heavy diamond for which my physical soul can strictly vouch. She got the heavy television glowing completely inside the dark room, chasing away the absolute undeniable heavy metropolitan gloom. A classic television series completely playing strictly on the screen, the most entirely peaceful heavy atmosphere that I have
absolutely ever seen.
I pull the heavy cotton blanket entirely over both of our feet, finding the absolute undeniable paradise
strictly right off the street. We holding down a heavy circle, keeping the perimeter tight, navigating together completely through the shadows of the night.
And when the heavy street business is entirely exactly done,
I'm driving
completely straight back
to my absolute number one.
Yeah, the loyalty is the undeniable
heavy blood in the vein,
keeping a man entirely sane
inside the heavy pouring rain.
She completely understands the heavy silence without saying a word, the absolute sweetest physical melody that my heavy ears ever heard. You realize that all the heavy paper and the gold completely entirely mean nothing if you ain't got the absolute undeniably heavy
real love
in the trust. The muted trumpet strictly harmonizing completely with the slow breathing, while the absolute chaotic heavy city outside is completely seething. We just watching the series, completely lost strictly inside the plot, knowing entirely that this heavy connection
is absolutely all that I got.
A man entirely needs the heavy brotherhood
to completely navigate the war.
Yeah. We ain't buying the luxury straight off the showroom lot today. We building the absolute undeniable neighborhood legend entirely from the dirt. Listen to that ratchet clicking perfectly in time with the drum kick. Hear the muffled radio playing through the heavy dust. Wipe the grease off the wrench. Let's get under the hood. Stepping completely into the shadow of the heavy wooden rafters, ignoring the distant echoes of the neighborhood weekend laughters. I got a heavy physical mission resting quietly entirely on 4 flat tires, waiting to completely reignite the absolute undeniable automotive fires. I put a heavy canvas tarp directly off the rusted heavy steel, remembering exactly how this classic machine is absolutely supposed to feel. The chrome is heavily pitted, the paint is completely faded, it out the gray. But we gonna completely reverse the absolute heavy physical decay. I drag the heavy red metal toolbox directly across the cement floor, unlocking the absolute undeniable magic completely behind the drawer. Grabbing the half-inch drive and the absolute heaviest socket in the set, preparing for a physical metropolitan sweat that I absolutely won't forget. The Mo bassline bumping strictly from the portable box on the shelf, while I am resurrecting this heavy iron beast entirely, completely by myself. Turning the forgotten heavy iron directly into the neighborhood gold, breathing the undeniable life into a story that is incredibly old, with the thick black grease entirely staining the physical hands. We building the absolute smoothest ride across these western lands. Yeah, the engine is sleeping, but the heavy physical heartbeat is strong, proving that the absolute heavy mechanical dedication is never wrong. I pop the heavy metal latch and lift the massive steel hood up high, looking at the complicated heavy maze directly with a strictly focused eye. The carburetor is completely choked up with the absolute heavy carbon dust,
fighting a completely, entirely undeniable war against the heavy orange rust. I lean completely over the mass offender, resting exactly on the frame. Mastering the absolute heaviest physical rules of the restoration game. Disconnecting the heavy black hoses and the brittle physical spark plug wires. Fulfilling the absolute undeniably heavy classic West Coast desires. The mechanical winch clicking loud, strictly directly on the heavy beat. Trapped entirely comfortably inside this heavy undeniable garage heat. You gotta completely understand exactly how the heavy engine breathes. Finding the absolute hidden power that the heavy Iron manifold leaves. I pour the heavy intake off, exposing the absolute raw metallic heart. Taking the entire physical metropolitan masterpiece completely apart. Turning the forgotten heavy iron directly into the neighborhood gold. Breathing the undeniable life into a story that is incredibly old. With the thick black grease entirely staining the physical hands. We building the absolute smoothest ride across these western lands. Yeah, the engine is sleeping, but the heavy physical heartbeat is strong. Proving that the absolute heavy mechanical dedication is never wrong. The sun is completely, entirely dropping exactly behind the garage roof. But I am strictly, entirely searching for the absolute undeniable mechanical proof. I clean the heavy cylinder heads directly with the wide brush and the spray. Washing the absolute undeniably heavy decades of the neglect entirely away. Dropping the brand new shiny parts exactly directly into the empty space. Putting the absolute undeniable heavy respect completely back onto its face. The heavy physical exhaustion completely, entirely, strictly settling in my back. But the absolute heavy determination is absolutely never going to crack. Tighten the heavy steel bolts exactly down to the proper physical torque. Finishing up the absolute heaviest undeniable grueling manual work. Pouring the golden heavy oil completely down into the breathing valve cover. The absolute undeniably heavy physical care of a true automotive lover. The garage radio playing it completely, perfectly smooth and soulful tune. Lit entirely completely by the absolute undeniable heavy glowing moon. Turning the forgotten heavy iron directly into the neighborhood gold. Breathing the undeniable life into a story that is incredibly old. With the thick black grease entirely staining the physical hands. We building the absolute smoothest ride across these western lands. Yeah, the engine is sleeping, but the heavy physical heartbeat is strong. Proving that the absolute heavy mechanical dedication is never wrong.
Yeah. 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 We rolling strictly past the city limits, leaving all the noise behind. Seeking the absolute perfect physical elevation of the human mind. The smell of the black coffee strictly pouring from the silver flask. Preparing my physical spirit completely for the ancient heavy task. The move bass riders move completely underneath the highway tires. Escaping absolutely entirely from the heavy metropolitan fires. He keeps his heavy hand strictly perfectly on the steering wheel, showing me exactly how the undeniable physical piece is supposed to feel. Yeah, floating on the calm water underneath the heavy green pine. Waiting for the perfect moment, strictly at the end of the line. Yeah, the absolute heavy wisdom passing straight from the old to the youth.
Finding the undeniable,
completely peaceful, quiet,
physical truth.
Yeah. The city is a hustle, but the deep lake is sitting perfectly still.
Learning how to navigate the absolute heavy,
undeniable,
the undeniable physical will.
We pull up to the dirt road, parking strictly by the heavy trees. Smelling the fresh pine needles blowing entirely in the morning breeze. Walking strictly down the
muddy bank, carrying the fiberglass, watching the absolute beautiful heavy morning hours completely pass. He shows me how to tie the heavy knot completely tight and incredibly strong, making entirely sure the physical presentation absolutely isn't wrong. I grip the cork handle, pulling the heavy metal bale strictly back, preparing for the absolute undeniable physical underwater attack. Sending the silver spinner flying on a completely flawless air trail, knowing that this heavy generational connection will absolutely never fail. The mechanical clicking ringing strictly inside the silent freezing air,
leaving absolutely every neighborhood worry
completely right there. The thick mist is slowly rising directly off the freezing liquid glass,
a heavy undeniable masterpiece
that absolutely nothing can ever surpass.
Floating on the calm water
underneath the heavy green pine,
waiting for the perfect moment, strictly at the end of the line.
The absolute heavy wisdom passing straight from the old to the youth,
finding the undeniable,
completely peaceful,
quiet, physical truth.
Yeah, the city is a hustle, but the deep lake
is sitting perfectly still, learning how to navigate the absolute heavy,
undeniable
physical will.
Sitting strictly on the green cooler, watching the red Bible flow, the absolute heaviest piece that a young physical man ever wrote. He doesn't say a heavy word, he just watches the deep dark blue, teaching me exactly what a patient physical man is strictly supposed to do. Suddenly the heavy water ripples, the fiberglass completely begins to bend, the quiet meditation coming strictly to an absolute sudden heavy end. He tells me keep the heavy rod tip pointing strictly straight into the sky.
Don't let the undeniable heavy tension
completely pass you entirely by. I'm reeling strictly with the steady, heavy, and completely determined pace,
a completely undeniably massive smile
breaking strictly on my physical face. The silver fighter completely breaches strictly through the water foam, right here in the heavy wilderness,
feeling completely perfectly at home.
We pull the heavy catch completely strictly up onto the muddy shore,
exactly what we drove into
this heavy quiet wilderness, completely
floating on the calm water
underneath the heavy green pine,
waiting for the perfect moment, strictly at the end of the line.
The absolute heavy wisdom
passing straight from the old to the youth,
finding the undeniable,
completely peaceful, quiet, physical truth.
Yeah, this city is a hustle, but the deep lake
is sitting perfectly still,
learning how to navigate
the absolute heavy,
undeniable
physical will.
The golden sun is strictly burning completely through the morning gray, stripping the absolute heavy shadows of the dawn completely entirely away. We pack the heavy wet gear directly back into the canvas bag, watching the majestic physical flight of the undeniable heavy mountain stag. The drive back to the physical concrete is incredibly slow and calm,
holding the heavy undeniable memory
strictly, completely in my palm. It wasn't just about the heavy fish that we completely managed to catch,
it was the undeniable heavy bonding
that absolutely nothing can ever match. The classic heavy G-funk rhythm strictly carrying us completely down the road,
carrying the absolute heaviest
and most undeniably beautiful family load. I look strictly over at the old man, completely filled with the absolute respect, the absolute heavy foundation that my physical life will strictly always reflect.
He smiles and turns the heavy radio strictly up just a little bit more,
cruising completely perfectly back to the
undeniable
heavy, undeniable heavy metropolitan door,
floating on the calm water
underneath the heavy green pine,
waiting for the perfect moment,
strictly at the end of the line.
Yeah. Stepping. Stepping directly. Yeah. Cruising incredibly slow down the quiet suburban street, making sure my physical presentation is absolutely entirely neat. The classic engine purring, the white walls rolling clean, stepping entirely into a completely unfamiliar family scene. I got a heavy bouquet of flowers wrapped tightly in the brown paper, trying to entirely pull off the most important romantic caper. She is the absolute, undeniably perfect queen of my entire life. The kind of woman that a man completely wants to make a wife. She usually finds her absolute peace directly on the living room couch. A completely down-to-earth royalty for which I can undeniably vouch. We completely perfectly happy just watching the classic television series in the dark. But tonight we got an absolutely navigator, completely different park. I park the heavy iron strictly right beside the concrete curb, hoping my undeniable street background
absolutely doesn't disturb. Stepping directly up to the heavy wooden family door.
Exactly what every single real man
has to entirely prepare for.
Leaving the heavy metropolitan swagger
entirely, completely behind.
Proving the absolute undeniable strength
of the heart and the mind.
Yeah, the avenue is tough,
but the dinner table is the real fight.
Earning the absolute highest level
of the family respect tonight.
I walk up the paved driveway, counting every single physical step, leaving behind the absolute, entirely, completely heavy neighborhood rep. I press the glowing button, hearing the heavy chimes, strictly ringing sides, swallowing absolutely every single ounce of my foolish street pride. The heavy door swings open and a father is standing incredibly tall, answering the ultimate, undeniably heavy patriarchal call. I reach out my right hand, giving him the absolute firmest grip, making sure my physical confidence absolutely entirely doesn't slip. He looks me completely directly straight into my physical eye, testing the absolute undeniable truth of the heavy
West Coast sky.
Her mother steps up behind him with a warm and completely gentle smile, taking the heavy physical pressure completely down
for a little while.
I hand over the heavy flowers, keeping my vocabulary incredibly polite, knowing that the next few hours gotta be
entirely
exactly right.
Stepping directly up to the heavy wooden family door.
Exactly what every single real man
has to entirely prepare for.
Leaving the heavy metropolitan swagger
entirely, completely behind.
Proving the absolute, undeniable strength
of the heart and the mind.
Yeah, the avenue is tough,
but the dinner table is the real fight.
Earning the absolute highest level
of the family respect tonight.
We sitting completely around a heavy polished mahogany dining table, trying to keep my physical nerves entirely,
completely stable.
The mother serves the roasted chicken and the heavy mashed potatoes, a perfectly executed masterpiece of the domestic tornadoes. The father starts asking the heavy questions about my absolute future plans, checking exactly how this young man completely undeniably stands. I tell him about the heavy dedication and the honest hard work, proving that I absolutely entirely never completely dodge or shirk. I use the proper silverware, keeping my heavy elbows completely off the wood, representing the absolute finest manners of my
physical hood.
He tests my undeniable knowledge about the classic automobiles, checking exactly how my heavy mechanical spirit
completely feels.
I tell him exactly how to rebuild a carburetor from the absolute ground. And I finally see his heavy stern expression
entirely turn around. Stepping directly up to the heavy wooden family door.
Exactly what every single real man
has to entirely prepare for.
Leaving the heavy metropolitan swagger
entirely, completely behind.
Proving the absolute, undeniable strength
of the heart and the mind.
Yeah, the avenue is tough,
but the dinner table is the real fight.
Earning the absolute highest level
of the family respect tonight.
The heavy tension entirely, completely, strictly melting completely away. The most entirely successful,
completely, undeniably heavy passing day.
We drinking the black coffee, slicing up the heavy cherry pie.
I look across the table, catching her
absolutely
beautiful eyes.
She gives me a silent nod, letting me completely know I passed the test, putting my undeniably heavy and nervous physical soul
completely to rest.
The acoustic guitar playing a completely warm and entirely
mellow tune
underneath the absolute, undeniably heavy,
completely glowing moon.
The father leans back in his heavy wooden chair and gives a solid nod. The greatest absolute blessing strictly underneath the
neighborhood guy.
I thank the mother completely for the incredibly heavy and beautiful meal, showing them exactly how a true and respectful
gentleman is supposed to feel.
We step completely back out entirely onto the cool
evening porch,
carrying the
absolute, undeniably heavy,
completely
victorious torch.
Yeah, sunbeams looking, come sleep. Yeah, sunbeams, sunbeams. Yeah, 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 yeah. Sunbeams cutting straight through the dusty morning air. I kick off the slippers, stepping out of the comfortable chair. The whole crib is looking like a heavy metropolitan disaster. Time to show the living quarters exactly who is the master. I walk over to the wooden crate, sitting strictly by the wall, answering the undisputed heavy vintage soul music call. Pulling out a classic record with the faded cardboard sleeve, the greatest kind of auditory magic you could ever believe. I dropped the diamond needle right onto the spinning black groove. Watching exactly how the heavy bass line makes the dust particles move. The smooth brass horns completely flooding the entire physical space, putting a massive undisputed smile directly on my face. I roll up the cotton sleeves, tying a bandana around my head, leaving the heavy exhaustion entirely, completely in the bed. Yeah. Sweeping up the heavy stress from the daily grind, leaving all the undeniable physical pressure far behind, making every single corner shine, strictly under the sun. We ain't hitting the street until the absolute work is done. Yeah, yeah. The soul rhythm making the heavy chores feel like getting the neighborhood sanctuary, looking undeniably right. Yeah, I fill up the plastic bucket with the steaming hot water and soap, the absolute best foundation for the physical residential hope. The smell of the lemon polish completely taking over the room, dancing across the linoleum, strictly leaning on a wooden broom. You gotta slide right to the left when the heavy chorus drops, a beautiful physical motion that absolutely entirely never stops. I hit the kitchen counters, wiping away the breadcrumbs and spills, conquering these minor undeniable endo-physical hills. The rhythm of the scrubbing perfectly matches the drum kick, moving completely smoothly, making the heavy surfaces slick, washing out the yellow sponge strictly underneath the metal tap, falling perfectly, completely into the beautiful domestic trap. The soul singer hitting the crazy, undeniable heavy high note while I am scrubbing the heavy collar of my winter coat. Sweeping up the heavy stress from the daily grind, leaving all the undeniable physical pressure far behind, making every single corner shine, strictly under the sun. We ain't hitting the street until the absolute work is done. Yeah, yeah, the soul rhythm making the heavy chores feel light, getting the neighborhood sanctuary, looking undeniably right. Moving strictly over to the windows facing the neighborhood street, keeping my physical balance entirely perfectly on my 2 feet. I pull the plastic trigger, spraying the blue liquid on the glass, watching the heavy neighborhood weekend traffic slowly pass. The paper towel squeaking directly perfectly in the heavy time, matching the absolute undeniably smooth and casual rhyme. I shift the heavy old coffee table directly across the rug, pulling the undisputed heavy vacuum cord strictly from the plug. The motor roaring loud, sucking up the heavy physical dirt, making absolutely sure the weekend pride completely doesn't hurt. The soul record spinning flawlessly without a single heavy skip, taking my entire mental state on a beautiful classic trip. You gotta completely respect the physical place where you sleep, before you take the heavy classic and pile it directly into the deep. Sweeping up the heavy stress from the daily grind, leaving all the undeniable physical pressure far behind, making every single corner shine, strictly under the sun. We ain't hitting the street until the absolute work is done. Yeah, yeah, the soul rhythm making the heavy chores feel like getting the neighborhood sanctuary, looking undeniably right. The final heavy trash bag completely tied up in a double knot. I gave this physical apartment absolutely everything that I got. The hardwood floors are entirely completely shining exactly like a mirror, making
your motor off, rapping the heavy quarter round. Listening strictly, completely to the absolute perfect soul sound. The heavy smell of the pine cleaner lingering deep in the hall. I conquer the absolute, undeniably heavy domestic wall. I walk strictly over to the heavy refrigerator door, knowing exactly what I was doing all of this heavy cleaning for. I crack a cold beverage, listening to the absolute heavy fizz, knowing exactly how completely beautiful this physical lifestyle is. I sit back and tally on the couch, stretching my physical legs out, knowing exactly what the heavy Saturday morning is all about. Hey, sweeping up the heavy stress from the daily grind, leaving all the undeniable physical pressure far behind. Making every single corner shine, strictly under the sun. We ain't hitting the street until the absolute work is done. The soul rhythm making the heavy chores feel like getting the neighborhood sanctuary, looking undeniably right. Yeah, the crib is looking completely flawless.
It's like,
Yeah,
we giving up
hey,
the absolute highest. We giving up
we giving up the absolute highest.
level of the street respect. Yeah, walking down the sun-baked avenue, breathing the afternoon breeze, watching the real royalty, putting the chaotic neighborhood at ease. It ain't about the heavy gold chains or the violent street pride. It's about the phenomenal women keeping the community alive inside. Yeah, look at the matriarch standing strong exactly on the wooden porch step, commanding the absolute highest level of the metropolitan rep. She spent her entire physical life shielding us strictly from the heavy rain, absorbing every single drop of the undeniable neighborhood pain. I remember sitting at the kitchen table feeling completely physically beat, and the absolute queen bringing a warm plate of food for her son to eat. A quiet, heavy sacrifice that the busy avenue absolutely rarely sees. The invisible heavy crown bringing the strongest hustlers to their knees. You absolutely gotta bow your head when she walks entirely, completely past the only pure and heavy love that is permanently built to last.
Raise your heavy glass
Completely up
to the queens of the block, the absolute solid foundation underneath the neighborhood rock.
from the front porch steps,
Strictly to the living room throne,
the most undeniable heavy royalty.
that the avenue has ever known.
Yeah, we giving up the absolute highest level of the street respect,
Protecting the beautiful physical crowns that the universe directs.
You see them stepping out the door looking absolutely flawlessly sharp.
A beautiful melody playing completely on an invisible physical heart.
The rhythmic happy click of their heels exactly on the gray concrete floor.
Demanding the absolute respect before they even walk through the door.
The young street cat strictly completely trying to spit their weak game,
But the queen absolutely refuses to ever compromise her heavy name.
she carries the weight of the universe directly on her physical back,
Keeping the undeniable, chaotic metropolitan reality strictly on track.
She ain't looking for a heavy savior to completely pay your daily bills, navigating completely effortlessly over these
Heavy physical hills.
You gotta step correct, adjust your collar, and strictly mind your speech,
Because these phenomenal women have an absolute heavy lesson to teach.
the velvet roads piano completely,
Strictly echoing her absolute grace.
the heavy undisputed masterpiece.
Entirely in this physical urban space. Raise your heavy glass
Completely up
to the queens of the block, the absolute solid foundation underneath the neighborhood rock.
from the front porch steps,
Strictly to the living room throne,
the most undeniable heavy royalty.
that the avenue has ever known.
Yeah, we giving up
The absolute highest level of the street respect. Protecting the beautiful physical crowns that the universe directs.
when the heavy street lights completely turn the physical sky to a dark blue.
I'm taking my absolute heavy devotion completely straight back to you.
She absolutely doesn't need to be seen in a heavy crowded nightclub or chasing the loud physical validation
At the local neighborhood pub.
Yeah, my absolute queen is completely comfortable, strictly inside our own zone,
Sitting beautifully on the fabric couch, which is her undeniable throne.
watching her favorite television series completely exactly in the quiet light,
Making the entirely heavy metropolitan chaos feel absolutely perfectly right.
I drop the heavy classic car keys strictly onto the wooden glass table,
Knowing exactly that her undeniable love is entirely, completely stable.
You don't need the absolutely flash, the heavy paper to make her physically smile.
She appreciates the absolute quiet devotion
And the classic,
West Coast style,
that is the absolute real prize.
hiding completely behind a locked door.
Exactly.
What every single heavy street hustler should be fighting for. Raise your heavy glass
Completely up.
to the queens of the block, the absolute solid foundation underneath the neighborhood of rock. From the front porch steps strictly to the living room throne,
The most undeniable heavy royalty.
that the avenue has ever known.
Yeah, we giving up.
The absolute highest level of the street respect, protecting the beautiful physical crowns that the universe directs.
I pull the younger generation completely, directly, strictly to the side.
Teaching them exactly how to navigate the absolute heavy neighborhood ride.
You never absolutely ever completely raise your physical voice to a queen.
The most entirely undeniable heavy disrespect that the avenue is seen.
You open the heavy wooden door,
And you absolutely let her walk through first.
quenching the absolute undeniable.
Heavy metropolitan respecters,
The deep mo bass,
completely laying down the undeniable physical law.
creating the most beautiful heavy.
Harmonious picture that you ever saw.
The physical neighborhood is entirely
Exactly built strictly upon that grace.
holding completely together.
Absolutely every single corner of this place.
Listen to that desert wind howling across the hot asphalt. Let the blues and slide guitar bleed directly into the deep move bass. Stick that thumb out, let the open road decide. Yeah. Standing on the shoulder where the gravel meets the tar, watching the horizon for a lonely passing car. Got my canvas duffel bag resting right beside my feet, escaping the illusion of the crowded city street. The summer heat is rising in the shimmering mirage, far away from any skyline or a neighborhood garage. Just a faded denim jacket and the cardboard destination sign, trusting the direction of the endless interstate line. A rumbling diesel engine cuts through the empty air, blowing past my shoulder, whipping up my dusty hair. I ain't got a strict schedule, I ain't looking at a watch, just a drifter moving steady up another hidden notch. The freedom of the open space is singing in the wind, yeah. Exactly where the border of the wilderness begins. Riding the wind across the great divide, taking the ultimate cross-country ride. Nothing but the asphalt and the burning sun, living on the move until the day is done. Yeah, no tickets, no gates, just the open road, carrying the lightness of a traveler's load. A traveler's load, yeah. Finally, a rusted Chevy pulls onto the dirt, driven by a local farmer in a faded flannel shirt. He kicks the passenger door open, tells me to hop inside, offering a stranger an unexpected desert ride. We rolling through the canyons of the Arizona heat, with the G-funk rhythm thumping underneath the torn up seat. He tells me stories of the harvest and the winter rains, while we flying past the endless miles of western plains. You learn a lot about a man when you share a moving cab, way more than you could study in an academic lab. Just two silent travelers sharing temporary space, moving at a steady, unpredictable and gentle pace. I roll the manual window down and catch the cooling breeze,
feeling my wandering spirit finally at ease. Riding the wind across the great divide, taking the ultimate cross-country ride. Nothing but the asphalt and the burning sun, living on the move until the day is done. Yeah, no tickets, no gates, just the open road, carrying the lightness of a traveler's load. He drops me at a crossroads when the sky's turning red. 100 empty miles stretching out straight ahead. A glowing neon sign buzzing at a lonely diner stop, where the weary highway truckers and the local travelers drop. I walk inside and grab a stool right at the wooden bar, counting out the wrinkled dollars from an old glass jar. A cup of bitter coffee and a piece of cherry pie, watching the magnificent and purple leaving the sky. The waitress gives a smile, asks me where I'm headed to. I tell her I'm just chasing down a different point of view. You rely upon the kindness of the folks you meet out here, leaving absolutely all the city paranoia and the fear. The slide guitars echoing right through the diner walls, answering away the great American highway call. Riding the wind across the great divide, taking the ultimate cross-country ride. Nothing but the asphalt and the burning sun, living on the move until the day is done. Yeah, no tickets, no gates, just the open road, carrying the lightness of a traveler's load. Yeah. I step back in the darkness, laying out the sleeping bag, right beneath the shadows of a Rocky Mountain crag. The stars are shining brighter than a diamond jewelry store, showing me what all this roaming and the walking is actually for. No sirens in the distance, no screaming in the night, just the quiet crickets in the pale moonlight. I close my eyes and listen to the rumble of the earth, understanding exactly what my peace of mind is worth. Tomorrow morning when the dew was resting on the grass, I'll be standing by the highway watching morning traffic pass. Thumb pointed outward to the undiscovered west, putting the nomadic spirit to the ultimate test. The journey is the destination, there is nowhere else to be. Just a solitary wanderer, completely wild and free. Riding the wind across the great divide, taking the ultimate cross-country ride. Nothing but the asphalt and the burning sun, living on the move until the day is done. No tickets, no gates, just the open road, carrying the lightness of a traveler's load. Yeah, keep a thumb out. The next ride might take you completely across the map, from the painted deserts to the coastal waves. You don't need $1 million to see the world. You just need a good pair of boots, a canvas bag, and a whole lot of faith in the road.
We trading the heavy lowrider steering wheels for the linoleum and the cardboard tonight. Hit the heavy plastic play button on the silver boombox. Listen to the analog tape hiss before the electro synth completely takes over. Let the moog bass absolutely bounce. Step strictly inside the circle. Walking down the boulevard with the heavy corrugated brown sheet, looking for the absolute perfect intersection where the street legends meet. Got 8 brand new heavy D-cell batteries sitting strictly in the bag, representing the physical neighborhood entirely without a single need to brag. We drop the heavy cardboard down, smoothing out the rough physical edges, building up a temporary absolute stage right beneath the concrete ledges. The crowd starts completely forming a circle, shoulder to physical shoulder. The undisputed heavy street culture constantly growing, entirely older. I push the heavy mechanical button down strictly on the silver tape deck, making entirely sure the magnetic ribbon is completely strictly in check. The deep G-funk bassline hits, strictly mixing with the electro wine, an absolute undeniable physical signal that everything is doing perfectly fine. Lacing up the thick white laces entirely on a heavy suede leather shoe. We entirely, completely leaving behind the heavy metropolitan blues. Spinning directly on the cardboard, defying the physical ground. Caught completely inside the heavy, undeniable street sound. From the top, rock, strictly to the heavy windmill spin. This is exactly where the absolute urban legends begin. Yeah, the avenue is watching underneath the fading light, holding down the heavy rhythm deep into the summer night. Yeah, the absolute first kid steps directly into the exact center of the ring, letting the heavy rhythmic drum break absolutely, completely sing. He catches the undeniable physical beat entirely perfectly on the one, showing the younger generation exactly how the absolute top rock is done. Dropping down incredibly low to the cardboard, sweeping the physical floor, giving the heavy watching crowd exactly what they're completely gathered for. The six-step moving incredibly smooth, a flawless physical glide, a pure undeniable manifestation of the West Coast neighborhood pride. He kicks his heavy legs entirely up, freezing strictly in the perfect stance, elevating the heavy street hustle into an absolute undeniable physical dance. The sneakers squeaking loud directly on the dusty brown corrugated box, defeating the relentless heavy ticking of the absolute analog clocks. You gotta completely feel the heavy rhythm directly, strictly in your chest, if you absolutely, entirely ever wanna pass this heavy metropolitan test. Spinning directly on the cardboard, defying the physical ground. Caught completely inside a heavy, undeniable street sound. From the top, rock, strictly to the heavy windmill spin. This is exactly where the absolute urban legends begin. Yeah, the avenue is watching underneath the fading light, holding down a heavy rhythm deep into the summer night. A rival physical crew completely, strictly crosses from the other side of the street. Looking to completely challenge the undeniable heavy physical beat. No heavy vocal words spoken. The entire absolute battle was strictly in the move. A silent heavy conversation happening perfectly inside the undeniable groove. The challenger drops directly down, spinning entirely, completely on his back, keeping his absolute physical balance undeniably, completely, exactly exact. The heavy head spin entirely blurring his physical silhouette completely in the dark, leaving a massive heavy undeniable physical metropolitan cultural mark. The crowd completely roaring loud, entirely feeling the absolute heavy heat, the undisputed raw energy completely of the classic Californian street. Turn the heavy silver volume dial absolutely strictly to the maximum max, delivering the undeniable heavy instrumental absolute physical facts. It is a completely peaceful warfare, strictly fought on the corrugated square, breathing entirely, completely in the absolute undeniable heavy authentic air. Spinning directly on the cardboard, defying the physical ground. Caught completely inside the heavy undeniable street sound. From the top, rock, strictly to the heavy windmill spin. This is exactly where the absolute urban legends begin. Yeah, the avenue is watching underneath the fading light, holding down the heavy rhythm deep into the summer night. The yellow street lights completely, strictly buzzing right directly above our head, remembering exactly what the absolute older physical street legends entirely said. The cardboard is completely, entirely torn up, completely soft and incredibly weak, but it gave the heavy neighborhood an absolute perfect physical way to speak. The heavy sweat completely soaking, strictly, entirely through the cotton shirts, ignoring exactly how much the heavy physical concrete entirely hurts. I remember the days when the pockets were completely filled with dust. Walking the freezing avenue with absolutely nothing but trust. The heavy metropolitan maze, completely designed to make you fail. Yeah. Living entirely on the wrong side of the physical street scale. The winter winds blowing incredibly sharp, exactly like a knife. Trying to build a heavy masterpiece out of a fractured life. Me and Arch and Karmakov navigating the dangerous concrete block. Racing against the heavy, relentless hands of the analog clock. They threw the heavy ride patches directly across our path, testing our absolute resilience with the heavy neighborhood wrath. But we kept the heavy leather boots, moving strictly straight ahead, ignoring absolutely everything that the doubting spectators said. When the heavy physical burden was completely too much to bear, we split the heavy load entirely without a single question, man.
From the absolute deepest valleys to the highest cosmic peak, we found the exact heavy language that the loyal brothers speak.
Bleeding entirely through the heavy thorns, climbing up the steep incline. Watching the absolute, undeniable, heavy constellation shine. Yeah, the street was completely dark, but the destination is bright, side by side. Completely conquering the heavy metropolitan night. The physical scars completely mapping out the heavy journey we took. A story absolutely entirely too massive for a single paper book. We stepped into the smoky heart and momentarily escaped the pain, seeking a heavy physical shelter, completely out of the freezing main. I watch him chalk up the heavy wooden cube with a steady hand, the absolute greatest undisputed shooter in this western land. Playing the heavy Russian pyramid on a massive green felt, the most entirely intense absolute pressure that I ever felt. We calculating the geometry, breaking the heavy ivory sphere, making the absolute undeniable physical vision incredibly clear. A metaphor completely for exactly how we break through the absolute wall, answering the open and undeniable heavy universal call. Every single obstacle was entirely just a lesson in disguise, reflected completely exactly in the true brother's physical eyes.
From the absolute deepest valleys to the highest cosmic peak, we found the exact heavy language that the loyal brothers speak.
Bleeding entirely through the heavy thorns, climbing up the steep incline. Watching the absolute, undeniable, heavy constellation shine. Yeah, the street was completely dark, but the destination is bright, side by side, completely conquering the heavy metropolitan night. The years completely entirely turn exactly like a heavy stone wheel, changing the absolute reality of exactly how we physical feel. We traded the heavy worn out souls for the classic white wall ties, rising entirely completely straight out of the messed up as fires. Cruising down the heavy boulevard with the absolute windows down, the undisputed heavy surviving champions of this western town. The deep moon face fucking strictly out of the heavy chrome trunk, baptized entirely completely by the absolute undeniable G-funk. But that heavy paper never changed the absolute foundation of the soul. We maintained the completely undeniable every brotherhood control. When you walk entirely completely through the heavy fire with a friend, there is a heavy physical bond that the universe can never been. The heavy stars are finally, completely, strictly within our physical reach.
The greatest absolute lesson that the heavy avenue could ever teach.
From the absolute deepest valleys to the highest cosmic peak, he found the exact heavy language that the loyal brothers speak.
Bleeding entirely through the heavy thorns, climbing up the steep incline. Watching the absolute undeniable heavy constellation shine. Yeah, the street was completely dark, but the destination is bright. Side by side, completely conquering the heavy metropolitan night. We complete standing directly on the rooftop, looking at the grid. Routed absolutely every single heavy physical thing we did. The heavy thorns completed with that jacket tint over up our hands. But now we absolutely entirely completely ruling East urban land. Arching Cobra Corp standing strictly, completely, perfectly by my side. Filled with the absolute, undeniably heavy West Coast pride. The heavy storming strings completely pushing us directly into space. Finding that absolute, undeniable, heavy and prominent physical place. You absolutely cannot appreciate the heavy brilliance of the light, but lets you entirely, completely survive the terrifying dark night. The heavy blood, the absolute physical sweat, and the undeniable tears, washing away the completely accumulated fears. We built an absolute, undeniable physical empire from the dirt, proving exactly what a heavy, unbreakable loyalty completely worth.
From the absolute deepest valleys, absolute deep, absolute deepest valleys.